So we know, and it shouldn't be a surprise, Donald Trump is a loser. 83.5 million big ones. And this is the Snowstorm. Well, folks, I had certain things I was going to talk about tonight. Politics, the hot political news of the week was certainly right up there. But then, of course, this afternoon, as I was prepping for the show, the headline on CNN was proclaiming, quote, jury finds Trump must pay $83.3 million to E. Jean Carroll, unquote. That's over on CNN. Donald Trump, this is more quotes for you. So, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, this is from Wikipedia, where, Wikipedia knows everything. Donald Trump, the president of the United States from 2017 to 2021, has been accused of rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment, including non-consensual kissing or groping by at least 25 women since the 1970s. Wikipedia continues. On May 9th, 2023, a New York jury in civil case found Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation against E. Jean Carroll. They awarded Carroll $5 million in damages. Today, January 26th, as the world now knows, and as CNN.com website echoes, which I've already put in the headline, jury finds Trump must pay $83.3 million to E. Jean Carroll. A jury said that Donald Trump should pay $83.3 million in damages Friday, an eye-popping sum that marks the sharpest legal setback for a former president now entangled in multiple criminal and civil cases while he campaigns for the White House. So, those are just some of our topics tonight. And I have my regularly occurring panelists, Wyatt O'Brien Evans at Mr. WOE on X, and Robert Karl, RKARL on X, and they'll be coming up. I also want to remind you, I'm going to be talking about why I'm disgusted with Facebook as well. So I want to remind you of that. And by the way, if you're watching this on a platform other than YouTube, consider yourself lucky that you found the broadcast. And if you're watching this on Facebook, my personal page, my public Facebook page with 8,500 followers, or many of the groups that I share my broadcast to, consider yourself lucky, because let me tell you, I wanted to say, let me tell you, girls, but I know some of you don't use that pronoun, that noun. Girl is a noun. At any rate, I'm a little spinning from the news today. One day to the next, we have major news, and I really, frankly, don't know what to do with it all. So, if you are watching live and you have a comment about anything we're talking about, I can curate it onto the screen, unless you're watching on Instagram Live, and I can see there's a bunch of people watching over on Instagram Live. Some of them are really cute, and at least one of them is across the pond. Love that. By the way, any of my Instagram Live viewers, if you look for the link in my bio, it will take you to the YouTube channel where you can subscribe, because that way you can always find the broadcast. So if you're watching live, I can put your comment on the screen, and I want to remind you that you can support PromoHomo.TV for as little as $3 a month. Just go to patreon.com/PromoHomo.TV. And I promised that my two panelists that I wasn't going to talk as much as I usually do before heading on to the official opening of the show and bringing them on screen. I think I still just talk too much, but I'm going to be right back with my panelists after this. PromoHomo.TV is all about empowering you, our communities, and our world. Shouting out to my media partners: Pink Media, amplifying PromoHomo.TV across the Twitterverse with their #ILoveGay campaign. GayDesertGuide.lgbt. And KGay 1065 Palm Springs, available worldwide. Ask your smart speaker to play KGAY. It's as simple as this. We will save our democracy in 2024, or we will watch the United States implode. I'm Nicholas Snow, and this crisis we face is why I have launched the Snowstorm, a nightly hot topics panel discussion show in which I will curate your social media comments into the show, and we will connect the conversation to action we can take to save America.
Watch the Snowstorm nightly at 6 p.m. Pacific at PromoHomo.TV.
And this is the Snowstorm for January 26, 2024. For 26 nights in a row, there's been a live broadcast at 6 p.m. right here on PromoHomo.TV. And 80% of them have actually been live. 20% of them have been really fabulous encore or first-time presentations of content that you probably had not seen before. And that's my goal every night at 6 p.m. to bring you exciting content. And what or whom could be more exciting than my panelists returning to the show? I have Mr. Wyatt O'Brien Evans and Robert Karl. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, Nicholas, Robert, how are you doing?
It's great to be on with both of you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Likewise.
Well, listen, it's lonely being on TV by myself, and I always love it when you guys join me and sort of challenge me. For anybody watching, I have many opportunities to welcome diverse people from all walks of life onto the show. Just go to PromoHomo.TV and choose the pitching guest link in the sub menu. And of course, Rock May is here watching, and he says, Wyatt and Robert, welcome back.
Thank you.
Hey.
And Robert, you've upped your game with your lighting.
Well, I wanted to come out of the dark shadows, if you remember that old TV show.
Yes. Yeah, I do.
And if
I went right to the Gloria Estefan song, Coming Out of the Dark.
Yeah.
I just want to say something real quickly about last night's show, because it was dragulous. So if anyone didn't watch last night's show, I would like to take the opportunity to invite them to go back and check it out, because it was just dragulous is the word. That, the old RuPaul, the drag con, it was quite entertaining, and I enjoyed it totally.
Well, thank you so much. For people that may not know what you're talking about. About 8 years ago, I went to DragCon at the LA Convention Center. I had never seen RuPaul's Drag Race, but I went there and I explored for many hours on a live broadcast. And all of it is really a fascinating watch. But I post-produced and put on the network last night, basically 32 minutes of the tour, in which I interviewed a variety of people. And Rock says that 12-year-old, I just loved him. Now,
Oh, absolutely.
yes, Julian. So
Yeah.
Julian was there from Seattle with his mom.
So self-assured. Oh my gosh, he was so self-confident in his being. That's, it was great to see someone that young being so assured of themselves.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. I wouldn't have thought to do that. And Wyatt, have you ever dressed in drag?
I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, then. I didn't realize that would be like a question to catch you off guard.
No, I have a masculine reputation to uphold, so I can't talk about it.
I see.
I believe you have had a drag queen on your show.
Yes.
Or may not be.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
related to you, Wyatt.
Well, yes,
Well, you know,
possibly, yes.
so speaking of Wyatt's show, so Wyatt is a journalist, author, and radio personality with Wyatt, an amazing podcast, and you can find it at wyattevans.com. And Robert is a gay author and indie publisher. You can find him at robertcarlauthor.com. And I'm just so happy that you're both here. So, getting into the political meat of the show, I happen to, speaking of masculine, I went right for meat. But political meat of the show. No one laughs at my like sexual innuendo. Is it
Sure we
inappropriate?
do.
Is it not funny?
We do.
Okay. At any rate, I'm sure people out there in the audience have chuckled. Um, I have an opportunity where I live, where I work, excuse me. I do have a day job, and I'm able to quietly, in a way that doesn't disturb anybody, have CNN on nearby. And so I was watching the news that the jury had come back with a decision 3.5 hours after deliberating for 3.5 hours, and then the announcement was made. So Wyatt, where were you when you heard the news? Did you hear it live? Did you hear it later? And how? What are your thoughts?
Well, actually, I heard it a little bit later because I'm writing my new book. So I was sort of like in this shuttered writing space and all of that. So I'm a news junkie. So, all throughout the day, I'm turning on the news and all of that. I am so damn glad. $83.5 million. It just warms the cockles of my heart and my soul. He deserves it. No, actually, E. Jean Carroll deserved it. I'm so glad that she got that because he's nothing but
Well,
a gutter snipe, nasty old man.
I hope that she does get it. I just want to say hello to all the people who are watching. I won't be able to name all of you over on Instagram Live. Gerald, Nigel, Carrie, it's so great to see you there. Leo, Leo from SoCal, Nancy, Neil. Neil and I are social media buddies. Haven't had the pleasure of knowing him in person yet, but he's really cool. US Lifestyle Group is watching on Instagram Live and they are applauding. And Rock and Red 69 has just tuned into the broadcasts. And just a reminder to everyone in Instagram Live, I can't put your comments on the screen if you're watching there. But if you go to the link in my bio on Instagram, it will take you to the YouTube channel, and then I can put your comments on the screen. So, Robert, where were you when you heard the news, and how are you? How did you react then? And after the news has percolated a bit, how are you feeling?
Well, I heard the news on what I still call Twitter. Other people call it X, as you well know, but I refuse to bow down to the owner, so I'm going to call it Twitter just to be difficult. I was very, very pleased that they came back and they changed that initial $5 million, which was clearly not enough to make Donald Trump stop defaming E. Jean Carroll. And he just constantly went on with it. So they gave actual damages. They gave,
Punitive.
pardon me?
Punitive.
Yes, punitive is the word I was looking for. And they gave enough, the amount was high enough that Trump's reaction on his social media never mentioned her name. So I do believe that the message may have gotten across that he has to stop. And I have been following up with people, because one of the things that I get concerned about with these verdicts is will the people ever really pay?
Right.
So I've been reading up, and I read that the lawyers will put liens against Trump's properties in order to collect. And although he said that he was going to appeal, he has to put up 120% of the verdict, which means about $100 million.
Whoa.
He has to put that up in cash for the courts in order to actually appeal. So it remains to be seen whether he'll follow through. And I just want to say the word that comes to mind for me about E. Jean Carroll is the word courage. Over and over, she has stood up to him. She was determined. She persisted. She refused to back down. And she, to me, is a very brave person who showed that you actually can take Donald Trump to court and win, because for most of his life, he has been totally without being held accountable. And I'm so pleased that things are turning around finally. At the age of 77, I think he is. He might finally learn something about being held accountable, because up to this point, he never has.
And you know, he's so thin-skinned, so every time he loses, I can just imagine how it destroys and cuts into his ego, because that's really all he has, this bravado, this ego. And just like you said, Robert, and great research, by the way, you know, he's so used to getting away with everything, you know? So
Robert, in your research, when you found out that he could only appeal if he puts that cash in escrow with the court, I guess escrow would be a word. What happens if he doesn't appeal but just doesn't pay? How do they enforce the judgment?
Put liens against his property and collect the money that way.
But how do they get around the fact that the property isn't under his name, but under the names of corporate entities?
They didn't mention that, but one other thing that they did say was that, you know, the big verdict against Rudy Giuliani, part of the way he was going to pay was he said that Trump owed him money. So now they were saying that the courts have to enforce that Trump has to pay Giuliani in order to pay, you know, Giuliani's verdicts. So it's all kind of tied in and snowballing, a little snowstorm, if you might say, against Trump, because he's going to be really in a situation that he has not been in before, where they are going to enforce this against him. And he still has another big verdict coming up with the case in the Trump organization, their fraud trial. So that's to be expected, I believe, by the end of January, which is coming up very shortly. And he could face hundreds of millions of dollars. They're asking for, I think, $320 million in that case. So things are not looking good.
Well, that also leads me to ask just how liquid he is. You know, how much cash does he have on hand?
I wish that he was so liquid that he would just go down the drain, that he was flushable. I wish that Trump was so liquid he was flushable. I'm going to be back with my panel after this. You're watching the Snowstorm. this particular shirt is the crux of the Hopeful Sexual campaign, and it is designed to inspire authentic human connection while simultaneously combating sexuality-based shame and stigma. And the really cool thing is, if you go to hopefulsexual.com, it takes you to an Amazon store where this shirt is available in all sorts of styles, sizes, and colors. And I use the revenue to fund PromoHomo.TV. So check it out. I think almost everyone is a hopeful sexual, don't you? And we're back with the Snowstorm with my regular panelists, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. WyattEvans.com is where you can find Wyatt. And of course, Robert Karl, gay author and indie publisher, robertkarlauthor.com. Do either one of you have anything to add about Trump before I start talking about why I'm disgusted with Facebook?
It's going to be interesting to learn who his VP pick is going to be. That's what I'm dying to know, who it's going to be.
Any theories?
Well, Haley's not going to do it. We know that. Poor Vivek, I don't think he's going to get it.
What about Rick Scott?
You mean Tim Scott?
Tim Scott.
Tim now is saying that he loves Donald.
I saw that.
He's in love with Donald. He loves Donald. He got engaged. You know what that's all about, right?
Yeah. Do you think he's on the DL?
Oh my God,
I think the gods. I think the gods.
On the DL. Go ahead. You first, and I'm going to say something after you say.
Well, the gods are freezing your face. They're letting us hear you, but they're freezing your face. So maybe he was praying that you wouldn't talk about him tonight. But so does your gaydar go off with him?
Oh God, yeah, he's so DL, he's subterranean. I mean, come on. Yes, he is.
Well,
can I give you my prediction for a VP?
What?
Tucker Carlson.
I've heard that. I've heard that as well.
You know why? White male.
Well,
Seriously.
it's all
white male.
It's all very scary.
Right. Very.
It is. Yep, I agree.
Okay, I want to talk about why I'm disgusted with Facebook. So I have 8,500 people who follow my public Facebook page. My views of this show on Facebook are really terrible, even after I share it to like 40 different Facebook groups. And it's the way that Facebook suppresses content that isn't paid. And so on Facebook now, if you have a group, you can put @followers or a page @followers once a day. And so I did an @followers test with my public Facebook group, and I told them, for the last 25 days I've been live every night. How long on this page? How many of you are notified? And of everyone that answered, like 2% of them are receiving notices that I go live. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start, instead of sharing that Facebook video across Facebook, I'm going to start sharing links to my YouTube channel across Facebook. And for any of you who are happen to see this program someplace other than YouTube, I'm putting links in the text associated with the video, letting you know how to find the YouTube channel. And on almost every social media platform on which you may be watching, there is a link in the bio to this YouTube channel. I'm prioritizing the link to the YouTube channel over the link to PromoHomo.TV. And I just want to encourage everyone to start that migration to my YouTube channel, which is a good time for me to let you know that, one of the things I promote is the ability to support PromoHomo.TV for as little as $3 a month. You can also engage with my Patreon PromoHomo.TV community at a free level. So if you want to start signing up and engaging with the very, very small people, a number of people that have joined me there, you can sign up for free. And that is a community where we can communicate more openly and freely with each other. Rock says that he gets notified of 90% of the posts and lives, but he's an avid follower. And Aaron Terry says he never receives notifications from Facebook about the show. Hey, Aaron, do you receive the notifications when I go live on YouTube? And because it's in addition to just subscribing to the channel, my YouTube channel, you also need to ask to be reminded of broadcast. You have that option over every channel that you follow on YouTube, and Aaron gets notified when I go live on YouTube. So thank you. Well, the show raced by as it usually did. I'm gonna go to each of you for a last remark, and it can be about anything we've talked about or anything that we haven't. And if you want to throw in promotion of your next exciting project, please do. We'll start with you, Robert.
Well, I just want to mention that I'm very upset with this whole situation in Texas and these governors who are siding with Texas, and for 4 members of the Supreme Court to actually rule against the supremacy clause in the Constitution, saying that Texas has a right to defend this border rather than the United States. And this is very concerning to me. This can cause a confrontation between the state of Texas and the United States, which really needs to be avoided. But the fact that the governor of Texas and 24 Republican governors all signed on to this is a disgrace, and these people need to start really thinking about what it means to be an American and who it is that you're supporting and why you're trying to put the rights of a state over the rights of the country as a whole. I find it very disturbing, especially the Supreme Court part.
Thank you for that, and we'll elaborate on that on a future broadcast. Wyatt, what's on your mind as we wrap up the episode?
Okay, I'll go for a lighter note. Going back to Tim Scott. Tim Scott is on the DL. Even if Tim Scott became a Mormon, that wouldn't work. He is on the DL. I don't care how many times this man, proposes, marries, whatever, America. He is on the DL, and even that's cracking. We know who you are, Tim Scott.
Okay, so I'm going to let you, as the final comment on the show, explain to the viewers that do not know, what does it mean if someone is on the DL?
Meaning that you're on the down low, meaning that you're actually gay or bisexual, more likely gay.
Or a same gender loving man.
Thank you so much for that. You're pretending you're not being your authentic self, sexual orientation wise. You really like men, and there's nothing wrong with liking men. Right. Just be honest about it and be your authentic self. Tim Scott, you're on the DL.
Okay, well, there you heard it from my panel. Wyatt, Robert, thank you for joining me. I love when you're on. I look forward to the next time. I'm gonna let Rock say, just want people to use their voice. Your voice is your vote. Please vote. Reminding people, this is the primary election guide for the state of California. Our primary is Tuesday, March 5th. If you didn't get this in the mail, your registration may not be up to date. Look into that. And everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I want to give another shout out to clubpride.org. Great products, and Robert has something to do with them, and you can see them again in the credits. Good night, gentlemen. And tune into Wyatt, WyattEvans.com.
In a safe place, I got room to breathe. Been a long chase, but at last I'm free. These open woods, I knew I could find peace here. Nothing like the city where I got tired of the running, the catching up.